So I
So,
write poems now, apparently. Yes,
we have audio. I can hear
fabulous.
you.
Hooray.
It can hear me. You can hear me. It's
Yep.
recording now.
Okay.
Hello.
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 After half an hour of misery trying to figure out this streaming software that totally worked 2 days ago because it didn't work yesterday either, here we are. Welcome to the second session of the Cymera role-playing game stream. I am joined here by Nick Bowling and Lizy Simonen, and the ghost of Nina Oram. There were storms in Ireland, and unfortunately, her internet connection gave out. So I will be doing a follow-up with her after this at some point. We are going to be making characters today as part of our lovely role-playing game Adventurers on a Dime. And after that, I'm just making sure that we are recording. That would be the worst thing, wouldn't it? If you miss hit record or something, it's just all of the sessions for nothing. And after that, we're going to do some world building around the idea of what this golden pillar is. You're playing in an adventure called The Black Road and the Golden Pillar, and you're going to be helping me form some of that world for Group 2. So, first of all, we're going to start with introductions. I'm going to mark that off my agenda because I'm cool. I like lists. My name is Brian Tyrrell. I run Dungeons on a Dime, which is a role-playing introductory series. It's to help people start role-playing if they've never played a role-playing game before, and to help them run games, not just play in them, so they can help play with all their friends. If you've ever seen anything online about Dungeons on a Dime, I was probably the one who wrote it. And if you saw something you didn't like, then that was an intern, a subordinate, someone who I have now fired. So it's fine. Otherwise, it's a one-man show, and I'm happy to be doing it. So, actually, promotion time. I have a book that is in the middle of coming out, in the red. It's my 5th book, and it is with BHP Comics of Glasgow. Now over to Nick Bowling, who is in the top of the frame. Nick, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Nick Bowling, as you know, and
Stole your thunder there, sorry.
I am an author and sort of musician and occasional Latin teacher.
Ooh.
Yeah, I just thought I thought I'd keep that card close to my chest. So I've written 2 children's books for Chicken House, Witchborn, and Shadow of Heroes, and my first adult book, which is a sort of speculative, near future, sort of funny, scary satire, is coming out with Titan on July the 21st.
Fantastic. We do love a book that hits all of the categories.
Yeah. I basically just looked at all the sort of Amazon lists and just tried to I just span all of them.
I love it. Perfect.
Quality.
I mean, it's a great way to advertise yourself. It's a book that anyone could love.
Yeah. I'm trying to get number 1 in the list, or in the most niche list on Amazon.
Love that goal.
Okay, and next to introduce themselves is Lizy.
Hi, my name is Lizy Simonen. I am a librarian in Glasgow, although I don't sound like it. I specialize in encouraging children's literacy. And one of the ways I do that is by trying to get them all to play role-playing games, which I play a lot of in my spare time. We'll see if that helps me out here or not. I don't I don't have any fancy books coming out. I do have a poem coming out later this year in Uncanny Magazine, and hopefully more publications after that. I'm a part-time MLit student at the University of Glasgow, and I just finished co-organizing the stay-at-home Fringe Literary Festival. So that's been my lockdown so far.
Yes, I have seen a lot of online festivals recruiting help or saying, oh, we'd like to do something like this, but I have seen very few successfully pulled off with so many events.
I have been involved in 2, so if you, I don't know, I need gigs, hit me up. Hello.
Very experienced streamer.
I am now. So as long as someone else is doing all the tech stuff, I do great.
Yep. Someone else could do my tech stuff too. That'd be fantastic. But anyway, onwards from audio issues. How experienced are you guys with role-playing games? So, Lizzie, you said you're quite experienced.
I was actually raised in a household where D&D was played quite a bit.
Wow.
But in a fit of teenage rebellion, I refused to play Dungeons and Dragons with my parents. They think it's hilarious how much I play now. My role-playing experience is basically all Dungeons and Dragons. I think I'm one of the offshoots of the current craze. My partner started watching Critical Role, and he started playing, and then most of the people he started DMing, and most of the people in his group branched off and started DMing their own games. So I've played hundreds and hundreds of hours over the last 3 years. Never DM'd, could not do it, but really love playing, and I'm really excited to play systems that aren't just Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, you're in for a treat because you're going to be playing something really fun, Adventures on a Dime. Now we're going to move over to probably the other side of the scale with Nick. What's your experience with role-playing games?
Well, Brian, thank you for asking. I have no experience in tabletop role-playing games. I have deep experience of video game role-playing RPGs. So I've played a lot of Skyrim.
Yeah, a lot of us have.
I've played lots of Dark Souls. I was absolutely mad for the those Steve Jackson, Ian Livingstone Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Ooh, the fire on top of the warlock on top of the fire top hill, the fire on the warlock in the hill.
Warlock on the fire top.
Yep, there we go.
I have.
There was one that had robots and dinosaurs in it. Do you remember that one? It was about being fought in a civil war between robots and dinosaurs. It was incredible.
Oh wow.
So basically, this is sort of a culmination of like a 27-year-old dream.
Yeah.
I think when I was about 8 years old, I really wanted to play Dragon. Have the facilities. I mean, I guess I just sort of played it in my head. You know what? I just remembered something. Sorry, I'm just going.
Go for it.
We'll get around to making some characters in a minute. I just remembered. I used to play role playing with my best friend at primary school, George Mason.
Really?
We literally used at lunchtime. We used to just go out onto the field and just walk in laps, and he would just tell me a story at various points. I would have to make a decision about.
I love it.
It was like the most streamlined RPG you could imagine. Mm-hmm. Where basically he told a story, and then I said, "Well, I think I'd do this, or I'd do that."
So
we called it Quest.
Ooh.
Maybe it's time to start marketing that. George, if you're listening, I'm still here and I still want to play it.
So that's actually pretty much where a lot of role-playing begins. That is a common experience for a lot of people who played from an early age, is having friends or like older siblings tell a story and then you make decisions. Role-playing games, the only difference there is, as opposed to relying on the mercy of your friend to not throw you into a volcano randomly, instead, you have a set of mechanics and rules that tell you where the direction is going. So whenever we need to resolve conflict in Adventures on a Dime, we roll dice, and the dice tell us if things go well or not. And then we as a group get to kind of decide the direction of the story with our different roles as adventurer or narrator. So we'll explore that actually right now, because this is a perfect time to go into it. Adventures on a Dime is a system that I wrote. And we're going to switch apps here. Whoosh, magic! This gorgeous illustration by
really
Fraser
nice.
Robertson. It looks
very good.
fab, by the way. Still gawking over how good the artwork is for all this. So it's designed for people who have both played a lot of role-playing games, like Lizzie, and like people who have never played before, like Nick, or might have only passing experience as an 8-year-old in a field.
Love it.
Which is something you should put on your CV. I sort of love way to summarize it. I have passing experience of that incident when I was 8 and in a field.
Yeah.
I think that's part of becoming a writer, is that incident in the field when you're 8. That's
Yeah.
required.
Depends on what kind of writer.
Completely valid. All right.
So, Adventures on a Dime is a simple, rules-light role-playing game written with brand new players in mind. You're all going to be playing adventurers. So that's what the players will be doing, and I, the person who's running the story, will be the narrator. So the adventurers go out and do things, and then I, the narrator, tell you what the consequences of those things are, and if you come into any kind of conflict, then we'll find a way of resolving it using the rules of the game. An adventurer is a capable hero in the story, and they are summed up with 3 abilities. These are ways of summing up the things they can do. So in Skyrim, that might be your health and your mana and your stamina, and in World of Warcraft, it might be like your intelligence and your strength. Most games have a way of summing up someone in a very specific and numerical fashion, which doesn't quite map to the real world, but we all like to believe that we've got a strength of 12. Out of 10. So the 3 abilities we have here are Cunning, Vigour, and Willpower. So a Cunning Adventurer is intelligent and sly. They are aware of their surroundings, and they think quickly on their feet. A Vigorous Adventurer can face any adversity. They can easily run long distances, hold themselves in a fight, and work diligently and repetitively at a task. Willful Adventurers have the confidence to face any threat. They're passionate speakers and inspiring leaders. Adventurers have a sum total of 24 for their ability. And this number is made up of the sizes of die rolled when they're approaching ability checks. So when you have to resolve conflict, you want to roll a dice. The better you are at an ability, the bigger the size of dice, the more faces it has when you roll it. And you're trying to roll 4 or more. So you can see here that if you are the lower end of cunning, you might be described as foolish. You're rolling with a d4, which means you have a 1 in 4 chance of what you want to happen being pulled off. And then 3 out of 4 chances of it not quite going as planned. While if you're the other end, devious, that is a 1 in 12 chance, or not 1 in 12, that is a 2 in 3 chance of just flat out getting exactly what you want and having the tail go forward in a direction of your choosing. So if you've never seen polyhedral dice before, that's the fancy word for dice with multiple sides. They are referred to with like the D and then the number of sides they have. So a D6 is the regular dice you'd be rolling with Monopoly, a D8 is a dice with 8 sides, a D12 with 12 faces, and they're all faces of the same size, so it's all equal chance of being rolled. So if you roll a D10, you could get a 10, a 1, a 5, they're all the same chance. And that's what they look like there. So, the only thing that is additional to the abilities that characters have, adventurers have, are their jobs. Jobs are things they have done, sort of like a CV, and like with your CV, you pick up skills along the way, skills that inform your roles and the knowledge your adventurer knows. They pick up a positive trait, so an attitude to work that they've gained through their job, as well as a flaw, something that maybe they don't quite appreciate and they're having to bear the burden of in the future. So for example, Robin Hood might have the job of a thief. It means he's really good at breaking into castles, he's really good at hauling heavy gold, or sacks of gold, and he's fantastic at lying brazenly to guards. His trait might be that he is a very charismatic leader, at kind of bringing his band of thieves together, but his flaw might be that he's in trouble with the law, and if he ever sees a guard, the guard will want to punch him.
Okay.
So that's where we're at with that, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be making characters by listening to the concepts that you guys have had to think of before the stream, and then assigning some abilities that make sense for that, and then summing out and rounding out your jobs. And when those characters constructed, we're going to be making some rumours for the adventure we're going to be playing through. Now, before we make any characters, I'm going to tell you guys what I've already told you about the adventure that our audience might not know. So you were playing in an adventure called The Black Road and the Golden Pillar. The Black Road is a dark, almost like pitch black river that weaves its way through the rainforest. At its end, in the mountains, is the Golden Pillar, which no one has ever seen, or at least seen and returned to tell the tale. The Black Road itself is very mysterious, and all manner of creatures and plants grow on its banks, and it is a dangerous and treacherous journey up into the mountains. Many do not return if they go too far up the Black River, though it is profitable to sail maybe a day up the river to gather herbs and then return. So, with that in mind, you three, and I say three because I'll be working with Nina as well, maybe Nina's late to the trip, but you are three adventurers who have, for some reason, chartered a steamboat to make its way tirelessly up the Black River. You have hired the help of several sailors and a captain and a cook, and you have provisioned everything you need for the ship. The only thing we don't know is who you are and why you want to go up the Black Road. So we're going to start with Nick. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to start with Lizy, because Lizy has a lot of experience with role-playing, so we can see what Lizy thinks of the process, and then we'll go with Nick, who will be able to see the process and what it's like when you're making your character. So, starting with Lizy, I'm going to go over to a character sheet, because I know what I'm doing. So this is what the Adventurers on a Dime character sheet looks like. It's really simple. You've got a space for your name, you can write out what your stats are, and then you can put in information about your job. Something that we're going to sort out off stream, because it's a little bit more finicky, is what sort of equipment you're going to be bringing with you. But that's something that we can talk about that will make for some fun role-playing opportunities later. So, to start off, Lizy, who are you playing?
Well, before we started recording, I did ask if I could be a cat person, and you said I could. So,
yes.
Assuming that is still allowed, I would like to play a character called Kaisa. Are we rating this out?
Yes.
Kaisa. Soft Paw.
I'm trying my best to write neatly, and we'll see if it works.
S-O.
Oh God! Oh God, Brian! And you say you're an editor.
You're a great editor.
Not a great writer.
All right. Writing is edit.
Kaisa Softpaw. So what kind of person is Softpaw?
Well, she's shy, but she's stubborn, and very curious. And yes.
Why is she going up the Black Road?
Well, she is a anthropologist.
Ooh.
She works at a university of indeterminate place. And she thinks, I know maybe we aren't supposed to get into pillar rumors yet, but she thinks that the Golden Pillar is a key part of a sort of missing piece of her research to prove something about a civilization that lived there. And she's not usually one to go out in the field. Older anthropologists were not. Modern anthropology is great. Anyway, but she can't get anyone else to go and look at this thing, so she's so determined to figure out what it is and prove that she's right that even though she's kind of on the timid side, she is headed off into the jungle.
Fantastic.
With these other people, yes.
Amazing. And so, let's cycle back to the stats. Now we know her motivation. She's going out, she is scared, but she's going to do it anyway because she believes in this. So, having a look at the statistics, if the iPad will do as I want, bending technology to my will, I think that the keywords that make the most sense for her, I think that she is... Cunning-wise, I'd say that she's resourceful, or maybe she's sly. Vigor-wise, I'd say maybe she's healthy, or she's fit. And willpower-wise, I'd say maybe she's fearful or present.
I was thinking low, because you did send this to us briefly. I had a glance at it. I was thinking that I'd like her to be physically capable, because I think, she's a cat person.
Yeah.
But also maybe, even though she's timid, that can be something she can offer to the group, is at least, So I'd like her to be higher vigor. I'm okay with her being lower willpower, but I do think cunning should be good. I'm tempted to go.
What do you think the most important ability is to her?
I would say cunning.
Hmm. I'd
You
agree.
know?
I'd agree.
Okay, cool.
There's no right or wrong answer. But that means that like she'd be maybe sly or devious. If you think it's the most important and you want the willpower to be low as well, what we're trying to do is add the different sides of dice up to get the total of 24. So if we had a 12, we had an 8 and a 4, math tells me that's 24. So that would be,
Yeah.
say, devious, fit, and fearful. Or maybe you could have sly, hardy, and fearful.
Could I do sly, hardy, and fearful?
Yes, that is.
Although devious, fit, and fearful is great. It's a great sentence. um, awesome.
Perfect. So her job is an anthropologist.
Mm-hmm.
So what sort of skills do you think that she will have learnt as an anthropologist?
I think she's very good at note taking.
Mm-hmm.
Flashing back to my anthropology degree here, that I never did anything with. I mean, I would say maybe she has a good memory, but that might overlap with note taking.
Well, I think memory's a stronger one. To say she's got a keen memory.
Okay, then let's go with that. Right, she's probably not taking notes in the jungle. Although that would be funny. So good memory.
And this is
Maybe,
something just to note for anyone watching, is that there's a sentence here that says, while I've been doing this job, I've learned how to blank. And that's just to prompt people if they're struggling to come up with skills for a job, but you don't have to phrase a skill like that. It can be a word, a phrase, something like that. So you can, the sentence, while doing this job, I have learned how to great memory. Not a great sentence, but it does get across, oh, I've got a great memory, I can do with this.
Right. Yeah, that is a helpful prompt, though. While doing this job, I have learned how to.
And Nick, if you have any cool ideas, throw them in. And if you have some really bad ideas, also throw those in, because they can be really fun.
Okay.
She might have learned to be no, she would be a decent storyteller, but she's not got that sort of charisma. Maybe she knows how to be polite. And
etiquette.
she's learned the customs of many different cultures.
Yeah, presumably very empathetic.
Yes, and she can hazard a guess at how to not be deeply offensive. She can guess, oh, I should probably, bow to this person or treat this person with respect. Yes, perform etiquette. Good. She's going to be polite in the middle of the forest. And
a rainforest, no less.
A rainforest.
It's got rain and forest. It's combined together. Their powers intertwined.
I don't think she likes either of those things. That's gonna be great. Anthropology. What else?
So,
I learned?
Do you think she can she like concentrate for a very long time?
Probably. Maybe she has really good focus. Yeah, from all the research hours she has spent. That'd be cool.
That could be really good. Work tirelessly, so you're really good at just staying on task.
That could be really handy.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is your trait.
Okay.
This is something positive you've learned while being an anthropologist. And it might not necessarily be phrased as a skill, it could just be a general demeanour. So it could be that something I've taken away from this job is that I'm a great people person, for example, as an anthropologist. Or I can deal with rain, even though I'm a cat.
She can't. Her whiskers are gonna get wet. Maybe she's very open-minded and not easily flustered by the behavior of other people. I know she's fearful. I think that's mostly gonna be like fear of nature and being out of the wild. But if someone like suddenly eats a live frog in front of her, she's gonna be like, yeah, okay, that's probably tasty.
And if they offer you the frog, you'd be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. I'll have a toe.
Yeah, can I get my journal out first, though?
Yeah.
And what is one flaw that she's taken from being an anthropologist? So something that maybe isn't a great trait that she's leaning into a bit too much, or maybe she's grown an extra toe. I don't know. It's all those frogs she's been eating.
Ooh, maybe she's gotten used to. Maybe she does have a notebook that she does try to scribble notes in, and maybe she's gotten used to sort of like hiding behind that rather than interacting directly with people. She's like scribbling things down.
Given that we're all glasses wearers, maybe she could just have really bad short-sightedness.
Just really bad vision. Poor cat.
Horrible eyesight.
That would be really funny. Oh, yes. She's ruined her vision. Has massive glasses. Love it. Just this cat with huge, yeah, good.
Yeah, milk bottles. Because she's a cat.
No.
Yeah!
Oh, for that penny to drop. All right.
It's a big well. So why have we written down these skills and these traits and these flaws? They link into the game. So when you have to make an ability roll, I'm going to go back to the rules and look at this, if I can make it. Ta-da! When you come into conflict in the story, you have to make an ability roll. That is where you roll your ability dice, and depending on the number, you get a result for the story. If you roll the highest number on your die, that means that things go much better than you could have expected. If you roll 4 or more, it means it goes as well as you could have expected, but generally it's quite, a success. If you roll 2 or 3, it's a success, but at an interesting cost. There's been an unexpected development from your actions. And if there's a 1, something goes terribly wrong. And hijinks ensue, and the story takes a more interesting turn for it. All of these different results still move the story forward, but have different ways of making it interesting and can help build tension as we're telling. Now, skills and your trait can give you what's called advantage on the roll. This allows you to roll your ability die twice, and then pick the better result, the one that you like. So if you rolled, say, a 2 and a 5, you go, oh, well, I really want to succeed, so I'll take the 5. Mm-hmm. While your flaw can give you disadvantage, where you roll the dice twice and then pick the lower result. This means you could roll a 2 and a 5 and then go, oh, I have to use the 2, and it goes a bit messy.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's up to you to try and tag in your skills, and it's up to me as the narrator to make sure that if I feel your trait is relevant in a scenario or your flaw is relevant in a scenario, that I'm applying it and giving you advantage and disadvantage.
Got it.
Cool.
And that is the lovely character whose name I totally remember. Kaiser Softpaw. I knew it was Softpaw because I spelt soft with an A.
Softpaw.
Saft. Saft.
Oh, actually, she has a PhD. So can she be Dr. Kaiser Softpaw, please?
Yes, if it will let me.
You.
Hang on.
Very important to me.
It is very important. I don't actually know how the grammar works with that. So would it be like Kaiser Softpaw PhD, or would it be like Dr. Kaiser Softpaw?
I want her to be Dr. Kaiser Softpaw or Dr. Softpaw.
Mm-hmm. So Dr. Softpaw or Kaiser to her friends.
Yes.
Fantastic. So now we're going to move on to lovely, lovely Nick.
Yay!
You are playing the direct opposite of Lizzie, or at least before the stream, you said you were going to do.
We're not going to get on Lizzie.
So, who are you, Nick?
So, I am Gilberto Gil.
Gilberto Gil.
I love it.
I describe Gilberto as a subaquatic gentleman.
Mm-hmm. Some might know that in the layman's tongue as Fishman.
Fishman, but I don't want people to get the wrong end of the stick. This is not a sort of handsome, muscular fishman of the kind from like The Shape of Water. He's like, he's in really poor physical shape.
Oh.
So there's a bit of a backstory to Gilberto, which is that he was essentially dredged out of the sea by
Oh,
accident.
oh, I love it. I absolutely love
By
this.
Roberto.
He was dredged out of the sea by accident by a sort of fishing conglomerate um, who sort of kept him on board as a kind of mascot. And then when they brought him back to shore, they kept using him almost as a sort of, almost as like a crowd pleasing, like a sort of circus act.
Oh,
And they've kept him in the store in the it's like a fishmonger basically.
yeah. Which is terrible.
And they have kept him essentially against his will to kind of draw the crowds in. And I mean, he's been quite badly mistreated over the years. And because he's out of water, he is
Oh,
doesn't
is
really
he a
have the
fish out of
strength
water?
to escape. But when he's in the water, man, you should see that guy swim. It's like watching some kind of wonderful gymnastics. So out of the water, he's quite frail, and in the water, he kind of transforms.
Does he
Ooh.
have legs?
So he has legs, yeah. So he has legs and the sort of webbed feet, webbed hands. I don't know. Again, so I mean, I'm new to all this. If can he have gills? I mean, is he allowed to breathe underwater, or is that too much of an advantage?
No, that is a skill that you can have. So I would say that your job for Gilberto Gil would probably be fishman. We
Okay.
can think of some fishy skills that you have that are related.
Okay.
If
Because
that's
I was also thinking that he's sort of picked up a few skills just from sort of being forced to work, like almost enslaved by these people that sort of treat him as a bit of a kind of carnival act.
so. Something that happens in Adventures on a Dime is that you can have multiple jobs. And so I think in
Okay.
this specific case, you would have two jobs to start with. You would have fishman as a job, and then you'd have forced labour as job. Some kind of like title will come up for that. So we can figure that out in a sec.
What a resume.
But let's start with your abilities. So he's quite frail. I'd say that he's been mistreated. So he's
Yes.
yeah, and he's been in poor shape. So maybe vigor is his weakest stat.
Absolutely. So I mean, his main motivation is that he wants. I mean, he's sort of essentially out for revenge, or he wants to at least kind of get. Yes, I was going to say he wants to get his own back, but that's the same thing as revenge, right? And he's very intelligent. So I was thinking of maxing out cunning because he's had all this time sort of on his own, chained up to really plot against his aggressors. But like I say, physically very frail, so maybe right down the other end for vigor, and then willpower make up the rest.
Yeah, being pleasantly in the middle.
Yeah.
So the keywords for those are not that app, this one. The keywords for those are devious, confident, and frail, which I think does sum him up quite nicely.
Yeah, I think that's great.
He has a fishy plan for a fishy man.
Exactly.
Gonna write that in. Devious, frail, and confident. And you can use these words to help you roleplay Gilbert Gill or Mr. Gill. Because you can go, oh, what would he be doing in this situation? Would he be helping our friendly Dr. Softpaw scramble over a cliff edge? And then you go, nah, Vigor 4.
Absolutely not.
Nah. Like, he's barely making it over the cliff himself.
Exactly. I'm sending Softpaw in to do all the dirty stuff.
Oh, kitty.
Well, Kitty's got claws.
I was hoping that you would allow that, actually. Yes.
I'd allow that.
I played a Tabaxi monk recently, and it was excellent. I got to punch with claws. Very good.
Sort of like Five Finger just...
Yeah. Also, I've been clawed by my cat a lot recently. That's my inspiration. Anyway, sorry, back to Fishman. I'm loving it.
Fishman. So let's start with Fish Person as your first job. So Fishman.
Yeah.
So first skill is breathe water, because you have gills.
Yeah.
I'd say second skill is, well, not just swim.
Strong swimmer. Yeah.
Like gracefully swim, that acrobatics that you mentioned.
Yeah.
And the third skill, what kind of fishy skill would you have from being fish and man?
Like some fish, you can totally shoot this down, but like there are some fish that like have like the ability to like sense like electrical current or maybe
Oh,
or,
yeah.
like
Cool. Yeah.
and like that's like because I was reading about electric eels recently, and like there's tons of fish that actually can like sense like sort of moving things around them without like
Yeah.
actually the shocking thing. Could he have like a very like how like Spider-Man has
Like a sort of
Spidey
ESP type
sense?
thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but like really mild. Like you
Yeah.
not to like overpower
But just put rubbish ESP.
I think that's fun. And the reason
Yeah,
why it's
like
rubbish is because it only works when you're swimming in water,
I love that.
Exactly. Yeah.
and you're
Oh.
never in water because you're always walking on land.
I really like the idea that when he's out of water, he's so obviously so he's kind of escaped captivity essentially to join this mission, and I really like the idea that to sort of seal himself, he wears like a top hat and like a sort of big sort of kind of misshapen suit, and like big clumpy shoes, and to all intents and purposes, kind of looks like a sort of a decrepit kind of Victorian gentleman.
Aww.
I love this whole aesthetic.
Once he's in the water, the hat comes off, the suit comes off, and anyway.
It's actually really ill-fitting, and he just kind of swims out of it as it slowly sinks.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. He swims out of his collar.
That's fantastic.
Beautiful.
Oh.
So, what kind of flaw would you have as a fishman, and what kind of trait would you have as a fishman?
Well, I guess flaw is well, I guess as we've said, kind of physical frailty when he's outside of water.
Yeah, like all of your abilities kind of are moot as soon as you're out of water. That's...
I guess with the exception of my brain, I suppose. I mean, I can still think and plot.
Right. You're not useless. It's just you're not at full power.
Yeah.
And your trait, something positive you've got as a fish. I don't think I've ever thought of anything positive about fish before.
Something. I mean, I guess it's all the stuff I've got above, isn't it? Really.
Well, those are skills. Those are skills you can use, but something positive about being a fish. So.
Oh right.
Very
maybe.
short memory. Right. Okay, what's good about being a fish?
You've got slippery scales.
Might have scales.
Yeah. A sort of knowledge of maybe like currents and the general sort of undersea world.
He keeps up to date with current affairs.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, I'm really good at keeping up to date with current affairs. Is that I can keep up to date.
The puns make themselves.
I'm gonna take like a different boat.
Do you even need to take a boat?
Actually, yeah, I don't even need to be on the boat, do I?
No, you can vote yourself off the boat.
But I think I recognize the fact that you seem to know way more about the Golden Pillar than I do.
I hope I know about it.
Yeah. I think I've attached myself to you because
I'm really curious why Gilberto is seeking the Golden Pillar. Have you thought of that?
So I think Gilberto is sad to say kind of in it for the money.
You're totally allowed to be in it for the money. It's a Golden Pillar.
Yeah, I think Gilberto is he's the kind of fishy Han Solo of this group.
Excellent.
He's in it for the money, and eventually, like I say, I think he wants to maybe buy up a stake in the company that found him and enslaved him. So I think he's really plotting long term.
I like the idea that he wants to make lots of money, set himself up, buy the company, and then fire everybody.
Exactly, yeah, or make them do all the kind of menial work.
Yeah.
That's fantastic revenge. And you're saying like revenge was like, yeah, he's gonna kill them all or something. No, buying out their company.
Yeah, he's a thinker. He's devious. He's a cunning 12. So
Yes, love it.
So, what 3 skills would you have as a fishmonger mascot?
Did you do a little dance?
I was wondering whether, some sort of, very low energy performer. I was thinking maybe he could be sort of quite dexterous, if he had to. So well, firstly, I thought he could also be a sort of tireless worker, because he's used to kind of sweeping up and like stuff. And then.
I'd say because you're quite feral, that could be good at nibbling away at problems, just very slowly, like.
Yeah. Problem nibbler.
Mm-hmm. Maybe for that dexterous thing, you could be spinning signs.
Yeah, like the guys in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I'm quite good also at. I'm quite good at keeping myself out of sight when I want to be out of sight. Like I'm kind of wary of my cruel masters. So I'm quite good at shrinking into the shadows when I want
It's
to.
a very compelling character, Gilbert O'Gill.
I've spent a lot of time thinking about this guy.
That's wonderful.
So it's I've got the skills nibble away at my problems, spinning signs, and shirking work, which I feel is broad enough that you can then tag those skills in any kind of check. So, for example, if you wanted to avoid detection from a strange, mysterious creature in the forest, say, "Oh, I'm really good at shirking work, so I'm just going to keep out of sight," and that could be a valid way of tagging the skill in. It could be I need to deflect this arrow, maybe. And you say, I'm good at spinning signs, I'm going to spin the arrow away from me.
Nice.
You can kind of figure it out as we go along. So, what trait and what flaw would you have from being a fishmonger mascot?
Oh.
So for flaw, I think maybe your spirit's broken.
Yes, totally.
But maybe there's an element of showmanship that's been learned, or some sort of performing ability.
Yeah, I can sort of turn it on when I need to.
Yeah, don't enjoy it at all, but you can.
Yeah, the sort of kind of sad clown.
Oh, it's the retail voice. Hello, how can I help you today? You look fantastic. Wow.
Oh wow. I feel like we've gone on a journey already. This is incredible.
Yeah, I'm emotionally quite drained.
Yeah.
Talking about him. Poor guy.
And then lol, we're gonna make it a lot of, cat versus fish jokes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And, soul-crushing backstory.
So we have 2 fantastic characters. I think it makes sense maybe for Dr. Softport to have hired Gilberto Gil. So maybe Gilberto Gil wants to go up the river, but it's not like you've got a share in the boat, so to speak. You haven't funded the journey, but instead you have just been hired on as help on the ship.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I was even thinking I could be a stowaway on the ship. But then that's sort of, I don't know. What do you think about that? Then that was sort of that means there's not much of a relationship between.
No, it wouldn't make much sense for you to be a stowaway. I'd say like being hired help means that like, or maybe you are Dr. Porter's personal as Dr. Porter, Dr. Softpaw's personal porter. So you carry all of her inks and her notebooks and her various anthropology stuff.
Okay.
Her fake plastic skulls and pointers.
So
and...
does that mean Dr. Softpaw has freed me from servitude? Does that create some sort of interesting dynamic there?
Oh, I was thinking from that maybe Gilberto had already broken free, and this was the first gig he managed.
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
Hired by a cat lady.
Okay, sweet.
Maybe. I love throwing in cool role-playing things, but maybe you just haven't realised that he's a fish. Because you're very unobservant.
I just
in
think,
that sense.
Yeah, my eyesight is really bad. I've noticed this.
I'm dressed in my top hat and tail.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yes.
you just think that it's an old man who's lugging your stuff around.
Well-dressed old man carrying my stuff through the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm covered in aftershave to disguise the smell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Love it. No idea.
Is it fish scales or just dry skin? Like, we'll never know.
Yeah, I think that's excellent.
Cool.
Okay, so on to the next part of our thing. We've looked at Adventures on a Dime, we have made our characters, and now I want to get some rumours about the Golden Pillar. So we've already covered a couple of the things I wanted to talk about. So we know that Dr. Softpaw thinks that the Golden Pillar is a central part of a lost civilization.
Yeah, like a key artifact.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Yeah, maybe kind of like the Rosetta Stone. Somehow it's like it is the thing we need to know to unlock all this other knowledge. And
that's what all of your research says.
Yeah.
It's not like it outright says this is what the Golden Pillar is. It's all shrouded in mystery, but you get the feel from the writing, the way they're interpreting. Like, this is a really important part of culture.
Yeah. But I guess no one else has taken it seriously enough to go out and look at it. So maybe it's rumored, but the rumors that a lot of sort of learned academics would not give much credence to.
Okay. And are there any fishy rumours about the Golden Pillar that have sailed down the Black Road and into the sea?
I was thinking about that because I was like, well, as a cat person, would she have any personal interest in this? Was it a civilization where there were more cat people, or where they lived in harmony with other races? But I don't know. I guess it partially depends on if fish people are common in this world, and it sounds like if Gilberto was dredged out of the bottom of the ocean, it sounds like he's pretty rare, or at least not seen on land. So maybe it was a civilization of fish people. Maybe.
Nice. Yeah.
Deep in the rainforest, piranha people or something.
It's almost like the sea sort of receded, and kind of maybe left some kind of isolated pool.
Right, like how they say Nessie got stuck in Loch Ness. The dinosaur, because the water moved away. Yeah, it's like they're down there.
Oh my God, there could be some sort of incredibly emotional family reunion with Gilberto. You can find.
They might be distant relatives.
I mean, like really
distant, but still, like more.
But still,
of
another fish man. Perhaps he's the only fish man he's ever met. Sorry, this is a whole separate.
No, this is definitely key. This is very important.
Okay.
As far as Gilberto is concerned, I think he sort of perhaps has maybe misunderstood, or he's very literally understood the Golden Pillar to be something that is golden and hence very expensive, hence you can get lots of money for. And there might be quite a nice sort of tension between Gilberto and Dr. Softpaw's interpretation of what the pillar actually is.
Sort of like Dr. Softpaw is like, that belongs in a museum, and Gilberto's like, and I'm getting commission for it.
Yeah, because I don't imagine, considering Kaisa's like run off on her own to do this. She doesn't have like university funding, which is not generous to begin with.
You
So
did have
maybe
university funding, but you've spent all of it on the boat,
all of it on the
on the
boat,
trip. It's like one way.
and and um, you know, determines maybe she has promised to pay Gilberto more later on, and is working out how she's going to rustle that up, but like would never intend to stiff Gilberto.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Gilberto totally intends to stick you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It sounds like that kind of fish guy. Because I think that like did we use the word sly for her? I don't think
yes.
she would. I don't. She does think this is just an old man down on his luck that is coming with her. She's not going to try to like screw over this old guy. So, yeah.
This is important. She's sly, but he's devious.
Yeah, he wins that one. He wins that one.
It's a lot of aftershave. I think, to be honest, after you hired him...
While he walks by and she suddenly just thinks, man, I could go with, some tuna. Great. A big old slab of salmon.
And what are some rumours that you have heard about this ancient fish city?
That I have heard?
Yes, or both of you.
It was an extremely advanced city. Now we're thinking like Atlantis, and maybe sort of mythical in that way. Maybe there's debate as to whether it sank into water or it was always just underwater. But there's no universally accepted proof that it ever existed. It's just stories.
And from the survivors, because you both would have heard this, Nick will say that your fish canning fishmongers was at the base of the Black River, which is why Dr. Softpaw has hired Gilberto. So you would have heard rumours in the local drinking hole from survivors who've come back down the Black River and said, oh, we got to a city, but such and such a thing was terrible and awful and it ate Jim. And what sort of horrible rumours have you heard about the outskirts of the city?
I think that there's some kind of, at a certain point when you get into the rainforest, there is some sort of horrible, almost like a wall of kind of fish roe. Like there's almost like the eggs in the Alien films. There's like a whole load of, there's like a field of fish eggs that you have to sort of traverse or somehow find a way around.
Do they all have like little embryonic fish?
I reckon
big eyes,
little tiny Gilbertos in each one of them. Yeah.
That's gross.
That's amazingly gross, and I love it.
Okay. And what dangers have you prepared for, Dr. Softpaw?
Me? What have I prepared for?
Yeah.
Dysentery.
Very wise.
I am absolutely convinced at any moment some sort of terrifying beast is gonna pop out between the, I don't know, bushes, leaves, waves, everything. So constantly on edge, exhausted by that, and not remotely prepared, in complete denial that I might find crushing disappointment at the end of this. Not remotely prepared to go back to my university of failure.
That's not what your university's called. It's not the University of Failure.
University of Failure. Prepared for strange diseases and alarming creatures.
Okay.
Not prepared for crushing disappointment.
Well, that has rounded up all of the world building. And what's going to be interesting is that I've already had the session with Group 2. You will be role-playing 1 till 3 on June the 6th of June, because it is June.
Uh-huh.
So that's 1 to 3 will be your session, and then 4 to 6 will be Group 2 sessions. So what you get up to in Group 1 will affect Group 2, and it's going to be really fun. They've also done some world building, and you'll be interested to know that what you've discussed in this session will directly affect what's going to be happening in their session. And equally, what they've discussed in their session will be coming up to maybe bite you in the back. Or sneak through the forest. We'll see.
So we have constructed for them a mountain of embryonic fish and terrifying large fish eggs.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Oh, they're going to be like, what's wrong with these people? Oh, good.
Well, I will be able to... we'll see if Nina's internet connection is good enough to last a full game. Hopefully she'll be able to join us on June the 6th. I'm going to keep on dropping that date, June the 6th.
When is it, Brian?
1 till 3 on June the 6th. It's a Saturday.
And Brian, that's in June, right?
Yes, it's in June. This June, 2020, not 2021. Not a long way.
It's after the 5th, but before the 7th, right? It's
Yes.
Yeah.
It's after 12, but before 4 o'clock, 1 till 3.
I'm going to be desperately confused now. June the 6th.
Yeah. We'll see if Nina's able to join us, and I will be trying to make Nina's character with this information as well. Hopefully Nina doesn't just go, oh, giant fish eggs, I'm out.
Oh, if that was a person's phobia, that would be very
Maybe,
funny.
yeah.
Maybe
That's one of her lines.
We did talk about some safety mechanisms, which I forgot to bring up, but I'm going to do now because it's always good to talk about them. We have using 2 safety mechanisms when we're going to be playing on June the 6th at 1 till 3. The first we're using is the X card. This is just a really simple thing. In a physical game where you're talking, face to face, it would be a literal card or button you can press. But because we're online and slightly separate, maybe some 600 miles between us, it is easy enough to do this, an X over your face, and that's like a big buzzer that goes, no thanks, I don't like where this is going. And that relates directly to the second safety tool we're using, which are lines. These are lines we do not want to cross in roleplay. These are scenarios that we would use our X for and go, that's no thanks, I would like to walk that back and maybe go in a different direction with the story. Some of us like to work with kids, so for example, one of our lines is sexual content. We're not having any of that on this game. Not to say that it's bad to have. People can do whatever they want with role-playing games, as long as everyone is having fun. But for us, it is not something we're doing on stream. Another one we're not doing are any phobic behaviours, no homophobia, no sexism, no racism, because that's not very fun. And I think there was something else. No in-party conflict, no aggressive fighting.
In fairness, I was the one that said that. So I will say, having 2 characters butting heads because one of them's in it for the money and the other one isn't, or having, or fish versus cat drama. Totally fine. I mean, genuinely anger.
That was what I was going to clarify, is that it's not fun to have arguments as players with each other. But having arguments as characters and saying, hey, so I think it'd be funny if my character was really angry at your character right now, and the other player goes, yeah, let's totally do it. And you have a mini in-character argument, and you're both aware and consenting to that. That can be really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were some lines that we drew in our pre-stream session. Moving back to my agenda, which is totally complete, I think that's everything we're going to cover. I will see you on June the 6th. And to round up the little bit of a show, I'm just going to reintroduce everybody so that you can't forget our beautiful faces. So, I'm Brian. I run Dungeons on a Dime. I've been DMing for something like 15 years now, and I love showing role-playing games in all their formats to as many people as possible. Nick, could you reintroduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Nick Bowling, otherwise known as Nicholas Bowling. I didn't say that last time.
Ooh, bonus
that's
information.
what you'll see on the front of my books. I'm an author of children's books and adult books, and mostly sort of sci-fi, fantasy sort of bent. And I am also occasionally a Latin teacher and occasionally a jazz musician.
Ooh, we didn't have that last time.
Did I not say that?
You said musician, but you didn't say which genre, which means this is all exciting stuff.
Yeah, and that's that.
Cool.
Hello.
Hello. And Lizzie.
Hello, I'm Lizzie. I'm a librarian with kid stuff. I'm writing weird poetry these days. In a previous existence, I was involved in uh, salmon habitat preservation, so I actually know a lot about fish eggs.
Mm.
So yeah, that comes up.
It's
Uh,
perfect.
it's all gross. Uh, and I I have a lot of experience with D&D, and I'm very excited to play with this system.
Interesting, cool, amazing, fab stuff. Also, I have a fear of fish eggs now. This is going to be great.
But they
Oh,
taste good. It's okay.
I've never eaten fish eggs. Ooh.
Yeah, depends what size we're talking, I think.
They're
Oh,
this
that's fair.
big, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're carving a fish egg like a Sunday roast, I don't.
Could you imagine if it was like a water balloon and you went and it just went
Hey.
pop and whoosh?
Yeah, to be fair, I think they're just gonna be
So
swimming
grim.
instead. Anyway, when they're small and on sushi, they're great.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, I think that wraps up our delightful stream. We will see you guys. When are we going to be doing the next game?
June 6th.
6th of June. June.
Yes. Amazing. I have trained you guys well. Well, we'll see you on the June 6th. On the June 6th. On the 6th of June. And we hope you have a fantastic weekend, week, day, month, May, and June.
Yeah.
Until then,
Agreed.
we will see you later. Bye.
Bye.